In today's podcast, we're going to bring you on a two-part series of the journey of renting versus owning a home, the life lessons that we've learned, all the times we had to move, the unexpected expenses for both. But in today's podcast, we're going to be bringing you through the renting aspect of it. We really hope that this podcast gives you some insight if you're maybe thinking about buying a home with somebody, right? Or renting with somebody or moving in with somebody. We want to tell this story to be able to give you some perspective, and hopefully you can learn from our experience.
Right.
And hopefully help you make a decision.
Right. And everything that we learned on that journey leading up to the reason why we decided to buy a home at the end, but also in the long run ended up selling our home, which we're going to dive more into in part 2.
All right, welcome back to Be Great With Us. My name is Nate Ortiz.
And I'm Haskiri Velazquez. What's up?
And today's podcast, we took a little while to make this for you because we're going to be giving you some deep relationship advice, especially if you're in a relationship and you're thinking long-term. You're going to have to decide if you're going to rent or you're going to buy. Maybe it's a year of being with somebody. Maybe it's a few years. So what we want to do is when we were looking up the research, we couldn't find information about this.
Right. It was very difficult. And I also want to say it's like outside of just like thinking about long term, you're going to want to live with this person, right? You're in a space with this person. So you want to make sure that when you're picking whether you're renting or possibly buying a home, you want to make sure it's the right decision, because one thing that Nate and I learned very early on is how much all that outside stress can come into the relationship and then create stress in the relationship. So
that's a fact.
Yeah, there's so many things that we learned from renting in New York when we had our first studio apartment in Mamaroneck, New York. And then when I moved to LA, we had 2 apartments that we were renting in. But then we ended up renting a house. And when we rented a house, we were like, maybe we want to buy a house. So we came back to New York and we bought a home here. But then we eventually sold our house. And now we're back to renting.
Yeah. So we have this outline for you that we want to bring you through so you can understand why, what, how, and what to do. Okay. So the first thing is we started off renting this one house, and it was in like Calabasas area. It was really fun. I was able to build my gym there and be able to really get my career going to the next level in LA. But while we were there, we started noticing we were spending more money on rent, right? And we started thinking, is this smarter to invest into a property? So we felt like that after the first year of kind of being there. And then we kind of wanted to test the water. Like, we read all these articles, it's better to rent than buy because your down payment on buying can be like 3-4 years of renting. And then, of course, you hear other people say, well, you should buy rather than rent because you are starting generational wealth, right? So we started asking people. And the problem that I kind of like had an issue with is that the people I was asking when we were renting a house in the neighborhood is that these people bought their house for like $30,000.
Right.
While these houses were worth like $600,000-$700,000 that we were renting from at first. Now they're worth probably like $1 million due to the market being crazy these last 5 years.
Exactly. And I also want to point out too that like during the time of us purchasing or not purchasing that house we were renting at, the house that we were renting in Woodland Hills, that's the one you're talking about.
Yeah, the one in Woodland Hills, by Calabasas.
By Calabasas. When we went to rent that house, there was so many things that checked off on our bucket list that's why we were thinking, this is something that could help us grow. So yeah, the rent could have been a little higher, but then we saw that there were so many opportunities in that house. So I want to show them the garage I have here really quick. So this is the Woodland Hills house right here. This is Milo and Bluey. This is our living room. But this was the garage before. And I wish I had another angle of the garage. But right here is what we transformed it into. So we bought a bunch of equipment. We actually have a video on our YouTube. So we're going to link that below as well. So you can see the actual inside of the house, give you like that little tour. But yeah, so there was so much potential in that house that it's not like we made this decision on a whim. We actually sat down and went through the numbers and said, okay, how much money can you generate out of this gym? And he generated a lot of money. And as you can see, that was a lot of money that he put into it as well.
Yeah, so we were thinking like, if I'm going to be building this whole gym out and I put myself in a situation where like, we're going to build this gym, we're going to put the first month's rent, we're going to put the security deposit, and then we're going to put last month's rent, right? And then I'm going to put like at least 20,000 into the garage, rebuilding it, because I wanted to see if we were able to do that. I started thinking, that may be a down payment for a house. You know what I'm saying? But to be honest with you, what we decided to do is we kind of wanted to test it out first. So I've learned in my life that the best advice you can give yourself, or experiences you can give yourself, is if you hear two things, you should rent or you should buy, and everybody has their opinion and you don't know what to do, going through the trial and error yourself will give you not only the experience, but also give you the wisdom. That's a bar. I'm not going to press the button.
I was going to say press the button.
No.
That is very true. I like that you actually said that, because there's a lot of things that we learned from, although we were renting, we were still kind of considered like our own little like landlords, right? Or like
100%,
you know, even though they were really great people, but sometimes something goes wrong in the house and you have to act fast. You can't just wait for someone to come. And especially when the people that we were renting from weren't even, I think, in the country at the time.
No, they were in the country. They were just, we were in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
We were renting a house in the Los Angeles area.
Yeah.
They lived in Santa Barbara. They had a second house.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty, imagine like if, you know, a pipe burst or something, which it has happened to us. So stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned for that story.
Videos. But yeah, so if a pipe burst, you know, you have to kind of attack the situation right then and there. So there was a lot of things that we learned living in that house that kind of mentally prepared us to say, okay, yeah, going forward, we may want to buy a house eventually.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we did is, while we were there for the first year, we rented this house. We really loved it. It was beautiful. But I remember Haskiri saying she wanted to decorate it, but like she didn't want to spend the money on it. Like it's not a smart investment. So we kind of like really were in our heads, but we felt like we were kind of like stuck in a situation. But we were still grateful for the situation of being in the area. Our careers were going good. Haskiri was the star of Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
My holistic health coaching started to take off. I started working with a lot of different kind of like important names as far as in Hollywood.
Right. Like, yes, certain celebrities. He had a lot of celebrity clientele. And that's another thing too. Like, I'm pretty sure we're going to touch on
career.
This. Yeah. Like, I want to touch a little bit. I want to backtrack before we got this Woodland Hills house. One of the things that prompted us to kind of get this house, that we said, yo, we need more space, was because Nate was having all these clients. And it's not that it looked bad, but it's also like, he needed the space to work with these people in order for them to get the results that he knew that they can get. So we were living in Studio City across from Universal Studios. And that was a small apartment. Like, he had these people going inside a 2-bedroom apartment and like training. I'm like, we cannot do this. So, you know, that was another reason why we decided we needed more space, because we knew that was going to benefit us in the long run.
Absolutely. Yeah, I used to like move the desk out the way.
Yeah.
I was working with Corday for like 2 years. And when we first started working together, I would go to his house and stuff like that, and we'll train. But then started noticing like there was times where he wanted to pass by, because on the way to Hollywood, our apartment was there. And he'll be like, yo, let's work out. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So I'll go to the car, get the weights out of my trunk. I'll go upstairs. And then I would just move my desk. I'll move everything to the side. And it was a carpet floor. He'll come in, take his shoes off, and then we'll start training right there. So Haskiri has a video actually here of what the apartment kind of looked like. This was when we had the loft apartment.
Yeah,
but it's the same kind of structure. We moved into a 2-bedroom after, I say like 6 months of living there. And I was like, babe, we need a little more space.
We need a little more space.
Check this out. We'll see if you can start this from the top here.
Yeah, no, I can. I'll rewind it for y'all.
Yeah,
so this was the first apartment that we got when we moved to LA. And as you can see this little map right here, I was walking distance because your girl had no car, okay? There was no vehicle for me to drive on to set. So I used to just wake up 4 a.m, cross the street, like do-do-do-do-do, while like the rest of my castmates were like pulling up in cars. I was like, I'll see you on the other side.
Yeah, this is when we got the apartment, and we were taking a little tour, and I'm looking around and I'm like, yo, this is crazy. If you guys watched the last few episodes that we made, we put pictures up of our first apartment, which was about 500 square feet, where the kitchen was right next to the bed, and the bed was next to the bathroom, and the bathroom was next to the living room. it was literally an arm's reach.
Yeah.
Seeing this was crazy, man.
Right.
Look at
and
this.
like a loft. I was like, your girl is living.
We went from there to moving into and renting this house. And I remember when I wanted to rent the house, I told Haskiri, I'm like, look, we may go rent a house. Because at first we were thinking, do we go back home? Because we were waiting to see what happened with Saved by the Bell. And then I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to rent a house if we're going to stay here because I'm going to people's houses. People are coming over to this apartment and I need space, right? And but if we can find something that makes sense. And literally I woke up on a Monday. That was like 2 days later. I woke up and I was like, I go by, like if it's something's meant to be, it will kind of come to me as I'm thinking about it. But if I have to force something, I'm like, I'm not going to do it. So when we were sitting there, if something comes up available for rent, that makes sense, we'll rent. If something comes up for sale, it makes sense, we'll buy. Something came up for rent, it made sense. And that's why we got the Woodland Hills one that we showed you guys, which is next to Calabasas, just in case you're not familiar with Woodland Hills. But the issue that we ran into when we were there is that we started noticing that we weren't really able to enjoy the holidays or the success with our family. And that started to feel a little weird. It was 70 degrees, beautiful on Christmas. That was a little different for me.
Right. Like
Thanksgiving
I'm used to
too.
like a white Christmas, like where's the snow? I want to put on a coat. I want gloves. Like, being from the East Coast, like you're used to a cold winter. And it was kind of weird. Like it was beautiful, right? But it still felt there was like this attachment, or there was no nostalgic feeling to Christmas. It was like me and Nate would look at each other and be like, so want to go to Erewhon and get like a pre-made lasagna or mac and cheese?
Yeah, let's go to Erewhon. Let's go to Erewhon and go get one of the broccoli, the turmeric broccoli.
The turmeric
rocking,
broccoli.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
So that was the downfall that we experienced. Yeah. So when we rented our first year, we learned it was a good experience. We kind of like first time we ever rented a house, and we kind of like planned everything out. Okay, if I make the business here, I can make this amount, and it made sense financially to rent for the first year.
Right.
Okay. Now, our desire was to really buy a home someday, right? So as we're renting, we really want to buy a home. But the conflict that we had was that Haskiri just started her career in LA. My career started to build up. And then we noticed that if we wanted to move, we have 3 dogs now, right? Because at first we had a dog named Brody. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But we had 3 dogs and we had this furniture. And we're like, damn, we move across country. Moving across country is not easy because we just did it to come here. And it was like last minute. It wasn't fun. So that was the first kind of experience that we had with renting. Now,
renting a house, but also to like throw in too, like in that house in Woodland Hills, another thing that we really enjoyed was how easy, like, I know this sounds so funny, but if you are a dog parent like us, okay, if you come from, having dogs in an apartment, you know how like closed off it may feel, especially for them, and how hard it is when they have to use the bathroom, to take them out all the time. So seeing the dogs actually have that freedom and having that backyard and having like quote unquote more time to like do something that we want to do because the dogs are occupying themselves back there, that also helped us grow in our careers, because we didn't have to mentally think about, we got to take the dogs out, we got to make sure they're getting their hour walk, all the extra noise or the distractions, we kind of limited those in that house. So then when it came to a time where around December, it was so many crazy things have happened. It's like, I don't even know where to begin or start or end at this point. But it was December. I was already filming Saved by the Bell. I was filming season 2. There was a few conflicts that we kind of came across. For one, the Woodland Hills house was beautiful. We were renting in. It was great. It was doing the job that we set out to do. But I had to be on set at like 5 a.m. So I would have to get up extra early to drive about 25 minutes, 30 minutes to set. And I realized that was like wearing and tearing on my body, because by the time I got home, I like had to immediately go back to sleep, wake up to do it all over again. So December comes around, right? And the person who owns this house that we're renting from literally tells us, I'm selling the home. And I want you to talk about that experience because there was a moment.
That's like, I would say we don't have that in the notes, but like,
sorry,
no,
I just had to bring
know,
it up because,
but that's a really good point, because I think that's important if someone's trying to decide if they should rent or buy. That was a sucker punch.
Right.
That was a sucker punch. I was already having a crazy week. I'm in Las Vegas with Corday, who he's a part of the festival, so he's gonna perform. And Beans was performing. So I'm out there in 100-degree weather, trying to make sure everybody's family gets in to see their children perform at this festival. And then out of nowhere, Haskiri calls me and she's like, "Hey babe, so the owner just called me." I'm like, "And what?" Like, I'm not comfortable with the owner calling me because I'm in fight or flight thinking I did something wrong or the payment go through. I mean, we sent the money. Like, what are we doing wrong? And so when you called me and told me that, and I was out there sweating, you were like, "Yo, the owner just called me and said that we got 30 days to move out because they're selling a home in 30 days. And I said, "What? They're selling a house in 30 days? The business, all the money we put into it.
Yeah.
We were going to renew the lease. Like, I just got Brody. We just got a dog because we're like, yo, we're going to stay here because we decided we're going to continue to rent from them."
Right.
And we were thinking about doing like a 2-3 year lease because we're like, yo, we're solidified here. We're good.
Right.
The only downfall, like you said, was your commute. But we made plans like, what can we do around that? I even thought about getting you a driver. Like, that's how crazy these things got, because we got this house for the low right before rent went crazy up. Rent has increased probably like 20% in the neighborhood we were renting from.
Yeah, disrespectful.
So when we were there, we were like, we got it right before they started getting real greedy, and we wanted to lock in that price for longer. So it kind of made more sense to us. And then I'm like, yo, we can even get you a driver or pay for a Uber. What's that? Uber. What's the best Uber?
I think like Uber XL.
Uber Professional is what they have lately, because we took one of those the other day. Not trying to sound bougie. We're not bougie, my friend. I'm going to keep it 1,000. If you coming from, we try to expose the whole poor story in our long distance relationship.
Yeah.
We're just trying to give you real relationship advice here, bro. When we were doing the numbers, we're like, yo, we can just pay for a driver. You can just study in the back or take a nap and you get there. But bro said that he was selling the house in 30 days. And I was lost for words. I was so lost for words that I wanted to find the fastest solution because of all the money we invested, that the first thing I asked you is call them and see if we can get the opportunity to buy it before it goes on the market.
Yeah. And this is when the relationship aspect kind of like, you know, somebody has to be level-headed. You have to have these talks in a relationship, because this could have not made or break us, but maybe made or break our account in a sense, because it was a really big investment. If I would have told Nate, yes, let's buy this home. I was like, look, this home is beautiful. Like I said, it's doing everything it needs to do. We definitely invested a lot of money into it. The garage, you can see for yourself. That's equipment that, you know.
Yeah, you can't really see as much because, you know, I should have sent you more photos of those.
Yeah, no, but I'll post, you know what? I will post I'll do a little something. Stay tuned. Follow me on the gram.
Yeah. We'll see.
But
or we could put it on the community post on
the
YouTube.
Community post. Yeah, but one of the things too is like when he came and said we should buy this home. At first I was like, yes, right? Like this sounds perfect. We've already invested all this money. But then you have to think long term. We have to be smart, especially for people who, in my career isn't something that I know it's a guaranteed. So yes, I was filming season 2. Yes, it was going really great, but a season 3 wasn't confirmed as of yet. So I'm like, look, everything is going really good right now, right? You find yourself in relationships at this peak, at this high, but then there's times in relationships where both of you guys can find yourself at a low peak, right? Maybe not making as much money as before, maybe not having enough clientele, maybe, you know, just it's a balancing act, right? So we had to really sit there and have this conversation. And I told him, I said, look, as much as I would love to buy this home, for one, I feel like it's way out of our budget right now. Like it's not smart for us to do that. And then for 2, we already kind of miss home, right? We miss family. There's a bunch of these things. So in hindsight, I feel like this was meant to happen, but the timeline of it felt a little bit like the rug was swept from under our feet. So I think the solution that we kind of found, which was like a happy medium in a sense, was ending up in North Hollywood eventually.
Yo, bro, I was tired of moving, right? So we just went from Washington Heights, and we moved from Washington Heights to Westchester in 2018-ish. And then from Westchester to Los Angeles to the loft apartment in 2020. Then, and halfway through 2020, we moved downstairs into the 2-bedroom because I needed more space. And then we moved from there 25 minutes north to the Woodland Hills, Calabasas area, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, yo, when I did the math on how much money we spent on moving, we're $15,000 in, straight like that, just with moving itself. The second thing that I figured out was the amount of money I put into the gym, the amount of money that I lost for not working, like being out of work for a week from moving. And then the way that rent was just creeping up to $400, $500, $600, I'm like, yo, we got to start doing something. But a lot of it happened to be, it had a lot to do with just childhood, right?
Yeah.
Like me being homeless, me living in a hotel, me always having to move, me not having a home, right? So I was kind of like, yo, maybe this is it. And at the same time, I started having these retainers with clients where I'm like, it's only making sense to then use, instead of me getting a gym space, I already built one, we might as well just use this and pay off the mortgage. But when I first said this to Haskiri, she was like, nah, I don't think it's smart. Now, Haskiri's really not someone who really disagrees with me so much. Like usually it would make sense for her, but it was really the way that she wasn't following along so much and she was challenging me made me have to like humble myself a little bit. Like, yo, maybe I'm missing something, because even though I'm making it make sense, she's just like, yeah, it makes sense, but I don't know, something's telling me not to do it. I'm like, well, we got the money, we have this, and I have the cash flow. Something's just telling me not to do it. So I was like, oh, okay, like, let's just see what we can get for it. Let's just see what they want. Let's see. So this is being transparent. I think they wanted like $1 million, 1.1.
I think it was
they wanted 1.1, right? So what I did in my math brain is I started seeing this house is going to be worth at least 1.5 by 2025, right? So we're going to get equity on the house. That's the first thing. Second thing is it's going to be very hard to buy a house like this because we're in 2021 at this moment, where I already saw what happened from 2020 to 2021. I was like, yo, the housing market may get crazy because we start seeing mad people move in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like when we're out there. And then the next thing is, I was like, yo, we can make some bread off this. Well, right now, the house, last time I checked, like 2 months ago, it was at $1.8 million. So I'm like, a little bit, right? But here's the thing. Here's what happened. The fires that happened in LA, the fires in Pasadena, but the one specifically in the Palisades, went over and was messing with Topanga. Our house was right off Topanga. So two things would have happened. Either we're in danger of our house getting on fire, because Woodland Hills got on fire, Encino got on fire. Those neighborhoods in the valley got on fire, close to Topanga.
Topanga, yeah.
But the house insurance is going to be insane now.
Yep.
So you're probably not going to be, like, it's going to be even more stressful. And then I will start thinking about, damn, maybe I should try to, the house value is going to be hard to sell to people who are now in the fire district or zone. I'm not sure if that's what it's called. I know over here it's called flooding zones. Yeah. I'm not sure about over there.
It's like a fire zone too as well.
So looking back on it, I went and I told Haskiri, you know what? I'm going to listen to you because of the simple fact that I think if you're like really this persistent on saying no, that means I'm missing something, So we didn't end up buying. And we moved out in 30 days. So I come home from the Vegas trip and then we hit the road the next day looking for apartments and specifically houses. And it was very hard because of two reasons.
Yeah.
This is why I wanted to buy a house too, bro. Because I was tired of asking permission for for the one thing. Are you guys okay that we have a Doberman?
Right.
Because Dobermans are like the most vicious dogs in on the renters' leases.
Right.
And Cane Corsos, which we have a Cane Corso now. So first that's the first problem. The second thing is, does it have a garage? If it has a garage, which brings me to the third thing now, think about it. Is it okay if I build a gym in a garage? That is a lot of work.
Yeah.
So finding a house to begin with it was pretty challenging, but now we're paying more rent.
Right.
But the second thing is trying to get them to, we'll go do tours. Remember, we'll just do some tours.
Yeah.
And then we'll bust a question like in the middle of the question, So this agent's so cool. Let's see. Hey, quick question. Are they okay with dogs? What kind of dogs? We'll show them Milo and Blue first, the golden doodles. And then we'll go, backyard was another requirement.
Yeah.
And then we'll go, well, what about a Doberman? Yo, in the middle of the tour, people are like, nope, no Doberman.
Yeah.
We'll have to leave the tour. We didn't even get to see the master bedroom or the primary bedroom, whatever they call it now.
You know, like sweet talk them. Like, hey, Susie, you looking good.
You want a coffee?
Right. You did something new with your hair? We got a Doberman. No. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
it was
tough, bro.
It was tough. Like you think about it, it's December during the holiday season too. So it's like,
I forgot it was during December.
Yeah, you have all these, just so many things that are happening that are like, we're time crunch, the holiday season, and then having 3 dogs that we still have to attend to and make sure that they're good.
But also, now I'm thinking about it, we also had to think about if you're gonna get a season 2.
A season 3, yeah.
Or was it a season 3 at that time?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
It was season 3 because we moved, and then we moved closer because also that was another thing. We're like, we could get another house further out. Remember you were saying?
Yeah, I wanted to go to Thousand Oaks. I wanted to go to Thousand Oaks.
And I was like, well, if I get a season 3, that's even a further drive. I'm going to have to wake up at like the crack of dawn. Like,
and I offered to get her a driver.
I know.
So, you can get a driver. We can get you a driver. I was dreaming big. I like Thousand Oaks because it was kind of out of like, you can dip into to LA, dip back out, but you get a lot more land out there. Yeah. And your stylist, Charlotte, had a house out there.
Yeah, she had
Or she was living out there.
Yeah, she was living out there.
And I was like, yo, it's a vibe out here. Like, I want to live out here.
So nice.
Yeah, it was really nice out there. I wanted to get on horses and everything. Yeah. I wanted to go all in.
Yeah.
Yellowstone style.
No, for real. Okay, cowboy. But you'll notice that when you start making these decisions or start planning, there's a lot of things that's going to be contingent on. So us moving, it was contingent on a season 3, right? And I didn't have no word that there was going to be a season 3 until like the last day of the contracts, which is a story for another time. But yeah.
Yeah, so but we were thinking long term though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're thinking that's always the important thing, is to always think long term, because at the end of the day, the decision you make, it's gonna sit right with you because you were thinking just not this one thing, just the full picture.
Yeah, full picture. We had the dogs because we weren't open just to rehome Brody, because it's our family, right? So rehoming Brody was an option because we couldn't get anybody accept him on the lease, and then Haskiri was like, she really made an effort to kind of like, yo, babe, I have to be closer to Universal Studios. So you'll notice like at this point, like both of our careers are taking off, but then like now I'm doing some pushback too, because I came along on this whole journey. I was supportive for so many years. Now I'm like, hey, look, I'm telling you, I want to grow my business a little more now, right? Like, and at the same time, I'm like, okay, if she does get a season 3, she needs to be a little closer. And it was impossible to find around Universal Studios unless you're putting $10,000 up a month. Again, we didn't want to do that because we're thinking long term. We were like, we had to figure something out. So we found this guy named David. I'm gonna say his name. He was the landlord. His name is David. After trying probably 15, 20 houses, we come across this one house. This guy goes, let's grab a cup of coffee. All right. We see the house first. We loved it, which we have photos we'll show you in a second. And then I asked David, yo, is it okay if we have a Doberman on the phone? He said, let's go get lunch. So I actually brought Brody, the Doberman, with me. So we went for lunch it wasn't Sherman, Encino. It was in Encino, right there on Ventura Boulevard. And we sat down and I brought Brody and I told Brody just to lay down and chill. And Brody was just laying there chilling. People walking by, petting him, saying hi.
Brody was such a sweet dog.
He was a great dog, man.
He did not care about nobody but Nate. He was obsessed.
It was it was a social, it was a separation anxiety was on 100. But while we were doing that, we were having this meeting with David and I'm talking to David and I'm like, we go into Brody, because we talked about, he wanted to know who's going to be on a lease and all these things. He's like, yo, these young kids are renting my home in North Hollywood. And when I brought up Brody, he's like, I'm not even thinking about that dog. Like, absolutely. I'm not, it's okay, guys. You guys, I want to build a relationship with you guys. I want you guys to be safe here. I want you guys to be happy here. And it was a good price. So then I go, hey, the garage is all wood. I want to invest money to build into insulation. Is that what it's called?
He wanted to put up the
electricity,
the drywall, the electricity, he basically a renovation for real, like a full blown.
He said, "Do you know how much you're gonna be spending?" I said, "Yeah, about 20,000." Right. So again, another 20,000. Right. And then he's like, "Listen, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna turn down someone willing to put $20,000 into my house." So I kind of thought about that. I'm like, "Damn, is this a good move for me?" But I did the math, and I was like, "Well, if I get the gym up and running, my client, I'm in North Hollywood. I'm in the middle of everything now."
Right.
And it worked out perfectly. So we end up moving into that house, and it was great. Let's show them these photos here. And I'm not sure if you have a video here.
Yeah, I have a video right here. So this is the video of the house. I'm just gonna skim through it so you can see.
No, you can leave it. You can leave it. For those that are listening, we're just showing that we walking in the house. We're going straight to the main bedroom here. So this was the bedroom here. Super dope.
So
I like those the doors for the closet.
They were like some French doors.
This is our bathroom here. Now, it was a little different with the bathroom because in Woodland Hills, we had like his and her sink for the first time. So coming back to that, it's like, yo, bro, it's champagne problems, I know, but it makes a difference.
And this room right here was the front of the house. It was my office. So I was able to get an office for the first time with the actual door. Not that I used it much, but still, it was nice to have.
I did not know that room had a door.
Yeah.
I'm kind of upset now. This was my office here.
The reason you got this office and not the front was because of the access to the backyard,
Yeah. Did you, in this video, did we go outside to the backyard?
This is what the backyard looked like at night, this photo right here. And then I'll show you the gym, but this is like, let me see.
Yeah, this is the kitchen right here.
Got. I think I showed.
No, now think about it. We had 3 different ways to get in and out of this house. We had also 3 ways to get robbed.
Right. Right here was the entrance or exit, whatever, to the backyard.
Yeah. So that garage right there is where I rebuilt that. And then we had a guest house back there.
Yes.
That was the big thing.
Yeah, the guest house. I was going to bring that up. Yep.
We don't have a video or picture of the guest house, right?
No, I think I have a picture. I'll put it in like the show notes. What you'll find the link most likely.
Oh, we'll just do it. Yeah, because we're more likely going to be doing a part 2 to this anyway. Right. So we can come back with all the things we wish we had here.
And then this is real quick. I'll just show them the garage.
Oh yeah, that's the gym.
So this is the gym that Nate, he put up those walls, the light, everything. That's
there goes Brody.
There you go.
There you go. Listen, it was so bad that I'm trying to take a video to send to like a family member. And Brody's right there. He's not leaving my side. He's like, yo, bro, you gonna get me in this video with you. Wow, that I didn't know you had the video right there. That's nice. The smart board made me a lot of clients and gave me a lot of opportunities, grew my business a lot by presentations here. And that smart board, I used to do presentations on TikTok live on that right there. Good times, man. Good times. But at the same time of us putting this work in and actually really like, yo, we're gonna grow. We also put money into that guest house. So the guest house had its own furniture. I think we had where did we get the furniture from our apartment in New York?
So we ended up bringing over a lot of our furniture from the time that we moved. We were like, this is the time to take it out of storage. So we had that little Bob's couch that was in my marinade.
$700 couch that we got for our first apartment.
For our first apartment.
Your mom brought that for us.
Yeah, she did. Shout out to mommy. Hi, ma. Love you.
Yeah, shout out to your mom, bro.
La tsunami. But
she's talking about salami and
no tsunami.
Broccoli.
That's what she.
I'm playing. It sound like that,
right?
Did she just say salami?
La salami. So we brought our furniture over, and then we were like, okay, we can furnish this back room, which really was something that even elevated Nate's career too, like with his clientele, because he was able to have people come, stay in the back room, and have like this very intensive kind of retreat like work with his clients. So all of that, we invested into that. It had a bathroom, it had like a little kitchenette. It was just like, this house checked off a lot of the things that we were looking for. It had the backyard. They accepted Brody. They accepted all 3 dogs, and I had an office. Nate had his office. And we also had a bedroom. So this house really was like the house that we were like,
fire.
yeah, it was just
Everything. It was amazing. Renting from David was so good that when it was time to move, it was heartbreaking to tell him. Because that relationship was just so good. He never called for anything. Besides bro that lived next door, Crazy Eye. Yeah, one crate. Sorry, Crazy Eye. I was nice to you the first time. I have a client doing deadlifts. Like just regular deadlifts. I paid a lot of money for those mats on the floor in the gym. Bro comes over, goes, oh my God. And his one eye is gray, like silver or something. So I call him Crazy Eye. And he comes over, goes, oh my God, because he's banging on the door. Haskiri's like, someone's banging on the door. I'm like, what? People are getting robbed in LA at this time. So I'm like, all right, so we have to try. And we had a homeless guy come to the crib one time that was mad young and fly.
A story for another time.
He wanted to come in the crib. He wanted to charge his phone in my house and get water.
Story for another time.
It was crazy. Banging on the door. So I'm over here. I'm like, Brody, let's go. So we go to the door and bro goes, oh my God. I said, what happened? He goes, I thought there was an earthquake. I said, what happened? He said,
Dime.
I said, oh, you're talking about the deadlifts, bro? And he stretched it. And I'm like,
he was like,
that was the only problem we had there.
I was shaking in my house.
That was the only problem we had. And the last house, we didn't have any complaints by our neighbors. And we had like a lot of people pulling up. And at this time, I have like Naomi Osaka pulling up to the house. And she just won the US Open, right? And Corday, they'll pull up. The only funny thing we had in that last in Woodland Hills house is that we'll go outside and we couldn't walk because everybody wanted to stop and talk to us because we was just vibing with everybody. Yeah. But John, to the left of us, used to get on the roof and jump off the roof and jump in the pool. The problem is that John is 72 years old.
Yeah.
And John is doing backflips.
Story,
yeah, it's a real story, bro.
Yeah.
So Haskiri and I sat down one day and we're like, all right, we're gonna see if you get Saved by the Bell. So at the same time of us moving all the time, we had like this like invisible outline that we want to check off everything to make sure if it's safe or not, if it's safe to rent or buy. And one of the things was a career. That was always a priority. So the location and stuff like that, the dogs, the backyard. But the big thing was Saved by the Bell because I can take my stuff and go into Thousand Oaks or whatever. And it was just, we had to think about Haskiri. So then March comes and she didn't get a season 3. We were blown away because there was so many opportunities that was taken away from her. I'm going to say that, respectfully. But there was like, like she was just contracted in. She couldn't go do other things because she was contracted in. But we're talking about like big time movies, big time things. And it's just, it wasn't meant to be. It is what it is. But at the same time, I started to see like I was very busy and I was always in the gym or on the road. I was going to Bel Air 4 or 5 times a week now for a client, where we kind of sat down and we looked and go, okay, what is the smartest thing to do long term financially now? Because if Saved by the Bell doesn't book you, if they don't come back as a season 3, because I was trying to predict that they were going to do Netflix in 6 months. They were going to buy it and want to do it.
We thought Netflix would end up picking the show for season 3, but it didn't happen that way. So now we're thinking, okay, we've already experienced renting apartments out here. We've experienced renting houses. We love the feel of a house. We see all the potential a house brings us, the opportunities, the space, not only for us, but for our dogs. And then when we have people over, we see that vision. So because I didn't get a season 3, and every time I say we, like, together.
It's kind of like we, yeah.
Right. So we didn't get a season 3. I'm like, what now? Right? That's like the big question that could come across a relationship when you're like, what's the next step? Especially when you're thinking long term. Like me and Nate already been together, 7 years at this point, 7, 8 years. Yep. So I'm like, okay, you start thinking about the next couple steps with like family and growing, and where do you want to actually kind of settle for a certain amount of time.
So my fear was leaving LA, you not having in the mix, right? Like maybe you'll miss a meeting or something or an opportunity to talk to somebody. So we stood a couple months. We stood like an extra 8 months to see if Haskiri gets this meeting, because that's what people in her industry was saying. You can't leave LA. You have to stay in LA. And then at the same time, I would start thinking like, I think I have to go home. just in case my dad or my mom pass away next, or
Right.
my brother's a Port Authority cop now, like maybe, and all these riots are going on, maybe I need to spend time before, I was in this mode where I'm like, family's so important, where I need to go home and do some healing. I ran away from those problems, not literally running away, but using work ethic and success as a way for me to feel like I'm something. So renting this particular house or buying this particular house was always a thing of mine to like prove to myself, like, yo, we're going to be okay. So, but Haskiri and I would sit down at night and we would just, every night we're like, yo, we need to go home. So we end up buying a home, which we'll give you a sneak preview to, and then we'll bring you through us in that home in part 2. So this is the crib right here. That's Haskiri and my cousin right there. That's my cousin. She was pregnant. That was our bathroom. That was her walk-in closet. I know. That's us signing the contract to close the home. That's us getting the key.
Signing our lives away. No, just kidding.
Nah.
No. But look at that. House, like, made it happen. Just a girl from Washington Heights, Dykeman, a boy from Jersey City, right? And like hard work, all these years in and out, like so many setbacks, so many trials and errors that we had to go through, so many life lessons. And then, I shared the bed with my brother and my brothers and my father till I was like 15. To then, Nate not even having a bed frame to put his mattress on. To then us buying a house like this is kind of like, yeah. A lot of the information out there, it was hard to access. So we putting it out there for you to hopefully find something useful.
We'll be hollering at you in episode 2. If you have any questions, leave it down below. Up here, we're going to be leaving a video to our first story about our first apartment. Okay, so go watch that one. You're going to probably have to catch up on the other episodes, but we're going to leave that right on top of my face like we always do, because who wants to see this face when you can see that face right there?
That's right.
Yeah, dig. So enjoy that video.
In the description too, or in the comments below, or wherever you're watching this from, somewhere below, we're going to link the Woodland Hills house tour.
Yeah. Good job. Good call. Yeah, write that down because I will forget that.
I got it.
Yeah, so we'll put that down. Yeah, Haskiri and I did a video. That was a really fun video. So enjoy. We'll see you in the next video.